Hello buddy, welcome back to another episode of Just What, where I am playing Final Fantasy XIV. Last episode we finished off the minor quest and we did some part of the botanist quest line, and in this episode we're gonna go and continue with that. This is a new session, by the way. I'm not awake for that long, so bear with me. As Gridania continues to make headway along the road to recovery, ever more outsiders shall flock to her gates. They come here in hopes of trading, and Gridania must welcome them if she is to forge stronger bonds with her neighbors and prosper. Make no mistake, Lynn, busy times lie ahead. Verily, we have just received an order for no fewer than 2,000 fine quality sprigs of chamomile from the quicksand in Ul'dah. Run along and harvest them, would you? I jest, of course. A task of this scale will require more than 2 hands. If you would be so good as to procure, say, 15 sprigs, I would consider it an appropriate contribution. Chamomile is well known for its fragrant aroma and soothing properties. There is a satisfaction to be had in ensuring that folk from every corner of the realm can sample the delights of this great staple. Do you not agree? The herb is abundant in Upper Lanache, around Oakwood to be precise. Once you have harvested 15 sprigs, pray deliver them to Sandre. By the way, just so nobody is confused or wondering, like, what kind of noise am I hearing? I have a cat now. So, yeah, she's like next to me, purring. Purring. So, yeah, just FYI, if you hear anything in the background purring, then you know that it's a cat. Well, what else would be purring in the background? No. No. So yeah, this is why I had almost no sleep 2 nights ago, and yeah, like yesterday night was quite something. This night was better though, because I actually put them in a different room, as opposed to sleeping in the same room where this cat is, which you should never do. Never sleep in one room with a cat. Because you will most likely regret it. Yep. Lay yawn. I was supposed to say, oh wait, where am I supposed to go? Hello. So, Fufusha has you harvesting chamomile as well, does she? Return here when you have 15 sprigs, and I'll add them to the pile. While you harvest, I shall ponder how in the 7 hells I'm supposed to ship them all. $13, $14, $15. Aye, precisely 15 sprigs of chamomile. My thanks, friend. Ah, that distinct aroma. There's nothing like chamomile tea to calm the nerves. It's the perfect way to end the day, I reckon. Hold up. There we go. Now all I want to do... now all I have to do is wait for your fellow harvesters to bring the rest. Pack the lot and drag it all to the airship landing. Ugh. I expect I will have earned a cup or 2 of tea when that's done, though I rather suspect it will be the very last thing I fancy. I don't know if Fufusha mentioned, but this batch is bound for Ul'dah. It would seem the lords and ladies have developed a taste for chamomile tea. Developed a taste, I said, but not like as not they drink it just to impress their neighbors. Wouldn't surprise me one bit if each cup was served on a golden saucer. Ah, there I go again, spouting my old prejudices. It's a bad Gridanian habit, I know. Sooner or later I have to get rid of it. Don't want a visiting Ul'dah to splash hot tea in my face now, do I? Ha ha ha. Laughed in Ul'dah. I fear we have a situation in our hands, then. The guild's crop of alligator pears have been ravaged by vermin, and scarcely a day before the fruit was due to be picked. It is disheartening to see our labours come to naught, but such is the way of nature. Alas, our woes do not end there. In a fine example of ill timing, no sooner had the disaster come to light than we received an unusually large order for, yes, alligator pears from the Carline canopy. Yet all hope is not lost, for the fruit also grows in the wild. We need but find enough to fulfill the order, 15 to be precise. Our man Salieu is charged with keeping track of such produce as may be harvested in the Tweleswood. He spends most of his days around Ben Branch meadows at this time of year. If there are alligator pears out there, he will know where to find them. Pray seek him out, Lynn, and do as he directs. Looking for alligator pears. I heard the unfortunate tidings. Yet all we can do is take it on the chin and cope as best we can. I recommend you search northeast of Quarry Mill. Wild alligator pears grow there, and we're doing well when I last passed through. Barring pests, they should be ripe for picking right about now. Oh, and just so you know, the place you're going is no different from any other untamed corner of Doleswood. By which I mean it's full of nasties. Botanists like myself avoid the area if we can help it, but it should be as a walk through the flower garden for an adventurer like you. Now, you'd best be on your way. Those alligator pears aren't going to pick themselves. Alligator. I think these are with logging. Yep. I actually gathered them before. For definitely a reason. I'm told I'll be less tired than yesterday. I literally, mid-episode, had to stop recording because I was falling asleep. Oh yeah, when you get a new pet in the house, it's similar to a child, where your nights are gonna be spent not particularly sleeping. Although this one was definitely a lot better. I'm not going to complain about this night. Well, I say that, but I am actually complaining about this night. I trust you know. You now know where alligator pears are found in nature. Please hurry, then. It would not do to keep our clients waiting. Have a pear. 15 alligator pears, and just in the nick of time, you spared us Mion's wrath. Lest we misunderstand, Mion is a reasonable woman. Ordinarily, it is just that much rests upon the fruit's availability. Alligator pears are to form the centerpiece of a new dish of hers, you see. A hearty salad which she has been promoting feverishly to adventurers far and wide. Mion would not have been best pleased had her plans gone awry, but owing to your efforts, she can keep her promise. And we are good reputation. My profoundest thanks, then. I trust you have learned a valuable lesson from this episode, namely that we must not take nature's bounty for granted. As I taught you when you first came to us, nature is an unsentimental creature. She may provide for our every need today, but only to take it all away on the morrow. Those who would walk the path of botany must come to terms with this fact, and the sooner the better. For should your labours prove fruitless, and they frequently shall, no amount of brooding will avail you. At such times, one must remember that, for all her seeming cruelty, nature is not our enemy. She simply is. If you would become intimate with her and partake of her bounty, you must learn to accept her unconditionally. That was actually it's pretty nice dialogue. I liked it a lot. Ah, Lynn, you couldn't have come at a better time. A dear old friend of mine has found herself in a predicament and is in dire need of a botanist's aid. Normally, I would not trouble you with a request of such a personal nature. This task, however, should serve you nicely in your training. A contingent of the ffXIV has just returned victorious from a hard-fought battle with the Ixal, and my culinarian friend Yenny has been tasked with overseeing a feast befitting the occasion. Unfortunately, she is suffering from an untimely shortage of a key ingredient. I would ask you to harvest 20 laurel leaves, which can be found amidst the lush vegetation to the northeast of Little Alamigo in southern Thanalan. Then bring them to me for inspection. Laurel. Laurel. You know, I don't think you guys have noticed this before, but this is something that I actually want to point out right now. If I can get the correct camera angle for it in any case. Because I noticed it earlier. But if you look at the weapon... not the weapon, but the axe. You can still see like the places where it's been hit with the doming hammer from the armor. In one point, it kind of bothers me that it's visible, because of like showing the basically like the imperfection of the made product. But at the same time, it's really cool that you can actually see that thing. The amount of detail that goes into these weapons and these pieces of gear is ridiculous, and I love it. I love it quite a lot. Bum 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 da da dum. Good old gathering. The most interesting content in the game. It is still a part of the game, so... And honestly, it's not bad. Like, I thought this would be... Well, I didn't really know what to think of it at first in general. But once I started doing this, it's actually kind of just relaxing, really. This and crafting are just really relaxing, and it's nice. It's a nice change of pace from the usual madness that involves living. I guess this is why games like Stardew Valley and all that jazz are very popular with people. Because it is just relaxing. Let me see here. 19, 20, and nary a withered leaf among the lot. Yanni will be pleased as peas. Speaking of which, Lynn, do you know why laurel is so prized by culinarians across the realm? Not only does it boast a most pleasant aroma, deep yet not overpowering, the perfect accent to a savory stew or seasoning for a steak, but is also known to stimulate the appetite. The brave men and women of the ffXIV feast now, but it is only a matter of time before they are summoned back to the field of battle. Deliver the laurel to Yanni, and that she might prepare a feast that will warm their hearts as well as sate their stomachs. Ba-da-da. Yanni. So much stuff in my inventory. Greetings, friend. Are you perchance the botanist to whom Fufusha entrusted my order of laurel? Yes. Well, I can see why Fufusha is always singing your praises. These will be among the crispest, most aromatic laurel leaves ever to grace my spice rack. Ixali raiding parties grow more relentless with each passing day. I fear that the day will soon come when we can no longer afford to feast our men as heartily as we do today. Still, Gridania's finest require sustenance as much as they need their lances and bows. I am but a simple culinarian, but I will do what I can to support my countrymen, and yet there is only so much I can accomplish on my own. In any event, I am ever grateful for your aid. Pass along my thanks to Fufusha, and let her know that I shall be calling upon your services again. And she disappears. She holds out a peace sign and disappears. Adios. Yanni was overjoyed with overjoyed with your delivery. Thanks to you, she'll be able to prepare a feast befitting the triumphant occasion. And yet, truth be told, I take no pleasure in martial victories. Every day we continue to water the soil with blood, if we lose something of what we once were. There was a time when Gridanian and exile alike lived in harmony with nature, and with each other. Is there no other way to resolve our differences than with lance and arrow? Forgive me, Lyn. I did not mean to burden you with my troubles. Oh, good morning, Lyn. Forgive me if I seem a bit pensive. You must know the thought that our harvests are contributing to the war effort has been weighing heavily on my heart. What I truly wish is to be an agent of peace, but what can a humble botanist do? In the meanwhile, another order was come in from Yanni, this time for zucchini. Or zucchini? I still don't really know how to say that. In large quantities. Now I'm afraid our homegrown harvests simply will not suffice. Fortunately, they are said to grow wild and in abundance in the Lanoche region. I would ask you to travel to eastern Lanoche and harvest 20 of the finest zucchini, I don't know, you can find from the area south of Raincatcher Gully. When you are through, bring them here to me. Zucchini or zucchini. Ramhorn. Ramhorn zucchini. Or zucchini. I think it's zucchini, but I'm not 100% sure. It was like, I was automatically going into the ninja headquarters. What the hell's wrong with me? Right, this is not what I need. I need to go lower still. I think. There we go. I really honestly don't use my skills enough as a gatherer. Unless if I'm a fisher, I don't really use them that much. Except for when it comes to like unspoiled stuff, you don't really need to use them either way, in my opinion, because you're just going to like, in this area, all of these nodes will constantly just respawn, so... Unless if you have, like, a big bonus on a certain node where you can, like, gather more... more times. Then I would, for instance, use, like, Blessed Harvest, but that's it. Bless her to bits. Still have, yeah, still have, like, these single things, but I'll just go and sell them once I'm done. Let's have my zucchinis. What resplendent zucchini! I had no idea such succulent specimens could be found in the wild. Truly a testament to the splendor of nature, is it not? The zucchini plant is quite sensitive to humidity. One would never... What the hell is this over here? One would never see them grow so large and luscious here in the Twellswood. Furthermore, they are quick to ripen and quicker to rot, meaning that timing is of the essence. Oh, it's like the texture of a freaking flower. It's like, what the hell is that thing? And yet the perfectly ripe zucchini is truly a thing of beauty. Sweet enough to be savored raw, its skin retains a pleasantly firm texture even when stewed. I suppose the Yanni means to prepare a wholesome and hearty feast for our soldiers. I know. I should take pride in serving our nation this way, but I have troubled you enough. Take your harvest to Yanni with my blessing. Fufusha assured me my 20 zucchini were on their way. Might you be the one who took the order? Why, what remarkable zucchini! I have not seen the likes of these in quite some time. At the risk of sounding boastful, I dare say that my next batch of ratatouille is shaped up to be the tastiest Gridania has ever seen. Ratatouille is a dish that holds a special place in my heart. It was the first recipe I learned, you see, taught to me by none other than Fufusha's own mother. My father was a traveling merchant, and our family moved often when I was young. I had few friends until we moved here to Gridania, where I befriended Fufusha. Hours would I spend by her side as she rooted through her garden. After sunset we would go inside, where her mother would whip up a ratatouille. That truly warmed both body and soul. Ah, to relive those days. Wait a minute, I have an idea. This is the ratatouille that inspired me to pursue the culinarian's path from such a young age. Do take a bowl to Fufusha. It seems she could use something to pick up her spirits these days. Gotta be fast with blocking the chat. I thank you for delivering the zucchini to Yanni. I suppose she is already slaving over a hot stove, preparing a stew that will give our warriors the stamina to fight yet another. What's that? Yanni has something for me. Ratatouille. Why this is my mother's ratatouille. I always knew that Yanni loved this recipe, but I had no idea she had learned to reproduce it in such succulent perfection. Ah, this brings me back to the old days. Yes, things were so much simpler then. Now the ratatouille that once warmed our hearts after hours spent frolicking in the gardens serves to light a fire in the bellies of those who march off to war. Will things never be as they were? Lynn, I trust you, not only as a botanist but as one who shares my dreams of bringing peace to the forest that shelters us. The Order of the Twin Adder has commissioned from us mistletoe in staggering quantities. We will need to search in the vicinity of Camp Dragonhead, in the central island of Kurthis. The curative properties of mistletoe make it a vital ingredient for many salves and medicines. I cannot help but fear that our guild has once more been drawn into serving this fruitless war effort. Forgive me for being a hopeless idealist, Lynn. Could you visit the Adder's Nest and inquire with Lieutenant Gavin as to the nature of his request? I will not refuse his order, you may assure him of that. I simply wish to know. Might as well both sprint. So, Fufusha wishes to know how the mistletoe will be used before she fills the order. That's a fair enough request. I have no intent to deceive her, nor you. The mistletoe will be used to prepare medicines for the battles ahead. It is as simple as that. This will not please a pacifist like Fufusha, I know, but what can be done? Does she think that we enjoy bloodshed any more than she? Were there a way to bring peace back to the forest, I would be the first to welcome it. In the meantime, the Ixal continue to attack our people, and we do what we can to protect them. A single soldier such as myself has no power to end this war, than does a botanist. In any event, I must return to my duties. If you could harvest 20 sprigs of mistletoe and tell Fufusha that our courier, whatever, will be along to receive them, the order would be in your debt. Yeah, I remember having a couple of mistletoes. Let's go and get them. Matur tree. Nice. I love it when I get just the perfect amount. That's a nice one. Oh. I really hope that the crafter ones are gonna... Like, I know the fishing one's probably gonna take me a while. To catch the specific fish that the game wants me to, but... I guess we'll see. Welcome back, Lynn. It is as I feared. Do not worry, I will take the 20 sprigs of mistletoe. Thank you. You have served the guild well once more, and so the unending cycle of bloodshed goes on. Needless to say, by no fault of your own. I bear no ill will to Lieutenant Gavin or his people. On the contrary, I have naught but respect for his candor, not to mention his service to my homeland. What weighs heavy on my heart is a sentiment far more simple, almost childish. I simply cannot see this force I love suffer any longer. War is inevitable, this I understand, but by aiding the war effort, we do not merely contribute to the suffering, we profit from it. No better than a parasitic mistletoe. We suck the life out of the trees that shelter us for our own personal gain. A parasite. Is that what our once proud guild has been reduced to? How can I, in good conscience, permit this to go on? Forgive me, then. I would be alone with my thoughts for a while. Jeez. Seeds of Hope. Forgive me if I seemed a bit distant last time we spoke, Lynn. Allow me to... Sorry, I'm trying to find a good camera angle. Allow me to get straight to the point. I have not come to this decision easily, but I have come to it all the same. As of today, I have resigned from the Botanist Guild. Our battle with the ffXIV rages on, and there are rumblings from the Empire as well. With each passing day, more people die. The soil is stained deeper with blood, and the 12th weeps. Meanwhile, I fill orders for the war effort. And for what purpose? That more ffXIV may suffer and die than the Gridanians? No. This is what it means to be a botanist in this day and age. I want no part of it. No more part of it. Whatever. If this is. Yeah, you know. Yanni, may Nafika bless her dear heart. Tried her best to convince me to stay. Still, I fear my heart is settled. Mind you, this decision is mine alone. I would pass no judgment on those who find meaning in their efforts here. Should you wish to continue to serve the guild, I am sure Yanni will have suitable tasks for you. Farewell, Lynn, and may the 12th ever shelter you. Oh, Lynn, I'm so glad you're here. You spoke to Fufusha, yes? It absolutely breaks my heart to see what's become of my old friend. Fufusha and I have known each other since we were both knee-high to a fungar, and I assure you, her knowledge of and passion for the flora of this realm is second to none. This guild would be absolutely lost without her guidance. Of course I understand her worries. These are not easy times for a true seeker of peace and a friend to nature. And yet I cannot help but feel that her emotions cloud her better judgment. That she is not seeing the forest for the trees, if you will. Fufusha has convinced herself that she is doing more harm than good to the natural world she loves so. Or she so loves, whatever. Preposterous. Has she forgotten the countless trees she planted after the calamity? Journeying far and wide to return lush verdure to our shadowed realm? Someone must remind her of all she has accomplished, and the work that is still left to be done. To that end, I have made contact with one of Fufusha's former apprentices. A botanist by the name of Reitloin. Reitloin? Sure. Reitloin! Who now tends to a forest that Fufusha herself led the planting of many years ago. My words as a friend will not reach Fufusha now. Only a fellow botanist who understands the depths of her words can heal the wounds in her heart. I beg of you, Lynn, speak with this Reitloin? Sure. And seek his counsel. Reitloin tends to the forests surrounding the Timber Lord's Lodge in the central highlands of Curtis. Please, go quickly. Once Fufusha leaves our guild behind, I fear that she shall never return. I have a tiny feeling that I know what I'm gonna need to gather over here. And you know, if I'm really lucky, I may just be able to gather what I want. What I really, really want. Okay, not really what I expected, but let me go and gather both of these. Let me also go and just use Blessed Harvest. And just get like as many of these as I can. Don't really know what it's used for though. I'll go and check it out. X potions, okay. Not super useful, mind you. Or spirit bomb potions. These can be useful for certain people. Right. Hello. Well met, Lynn. Yanni told me to expect you. I'm Reutlin, or Reutloin, whatever. A humble botanist, plying his trade in these bleak lands. Botany is not simply my livelihood, I consider it my true calling. A calling I would never have discovered were it not for Fuchsia's guidance. Needless to say, I was devastated to hear the news. All hope is not lost, however, as I have hit upon an idea. Tell me, Lynn, are you familiar with the spruce tree? I do not blame you if you are not, as it is a rare sight these days, as Fuchsia would tell it. In the years before the calamity, vast forests of spruce would stretch for moms and moms. What spruce trees you see today are the result of Fuchsia's efforts to bring the flora of ages past back to Eorzea. Perhaps seeing that her work has borne fruit will convince her not to abandon her life as botanist. Knowing Fuchsia as I do, the gesture would mean the most to her if the spruce were harvested by the hands of an apprentice close to her heart. Your hands, Lynn. Before you set off, be forewarned, spruce is still rare to these parts and not easily discerned. Only one with knowledge of the truth of the forest could hope to identify such trees, and then only after straining the eyes from the break of dawn. If your eyes are true, friend, you will come upon mature trees unlike any you have ever seen before, or you have seen before, whatever. Harvest from them 3 spruce logs and bring them back to me. Right, at 9 AM. Oh boy. So, in situations like these, you can either wait for the time. You don't have to gather these yourself. You can just buy a lot of these things from the market board. So, since I am not particularly in the mood for waiting for this to spawn, I'm just gonna go and buy them probably, depending on how expensive they are. I'm not sure how expensive spruce really is though. I guess we're gonna find out together. I know that dark steel isn't too bad. But this one, I'm actually going to take a look at dark steel. Dark steel ore. At the moment it's 600 per piece of ore. A nugget is 1,000 and an ingot is 4,000. Okay. Spruce. Yeah. Yeah. That's a little bit annoying. Why? Why? Okay, my friends. Okay, another thing that I'm, you know, sure, why the hell not? Since we're here now anyway. Let me explain something to you guys. Which I'm not sure if you guys already know or not. I'm not sure if I explained at some point. But if you go to like one of these big aetherytes in the big cities, you can visit other world servers. Every single world server has their own market board. So you can go to another world server and buy stuff from that server. There is, I think, a website where you can look these things up. Like where you can basically look through like all of the market boards to find your product at the cheapest price. I don't really care too much, to be quite honest. Let's see, because over here there are a lot more. The thing with like Raiden, which is the server that I'm on, is that God dang, it's always like it's always too much. But whatever, I'll just take these 9. The thing that happens in Raiden is that it's like a relatively new server. It's not been online that long. It's not new anymore, mind you. So it's like you cannot go through this server freely anymore. But the market board is still kind of a mess on Raiden. There's not really that much stuff. Well, I feel like there's a decent amount of stuff on there, but the stuff that's on there is usually ridiculously expensive. Either ridiculously expensive or just not, like the competition is just not big enough. So do with the market board as you will. Everybody has their limits of what they are willing to pay money for, and like how much money they are willing to give to. I honestly don't care too much But I do keep an eye out for it though, because like if you start randomly buying stuff without looking at the price, you will most likely run out of money. And in A Realm Reborn, getting money is not particularly easy. Later on, it can be a little bit more, a little bit easier, but we'll come to that when we come to it. Right, have this. Remarkable gathering, Lynn. I say that Fufusha has trained you well. I had a mind to deliver them to Fufusha straight away, but I just received some troubling news. You have heard that we here in Curses are locked in war with the dragons, have you not? A recent dragon raid has left many soldiers and settlers without shelter. A carpenter in the area is doing all he can to construct new lodgings, but lumber is in painfully short supply. I share your concern for Fufusha, but I am sure you agree that our first priority as botanists is to help those in need. Why, Fufusha herself taught me as much. Please, then, seek out to the carpenter and deliver to him some spruce logs that the people of Curses need suffer without a roof over their heads for no longer. Yes, on the off chance that you're either blind or stupid, I'm a busy man. Busy doing what, you say? Searching for lumber, that's what? No end of houses that need rebuilt after being smashed to bits by those damned dragons? Or haven't you noticed that there's a war going on here? Look, I don't mean to be rude, but I've no time for chit-chat. Take a look around. These ain't hospitable lands. Without shelter, people will die. Damn it all, is there not a single sturdy log left in all these highlands? Why, this is... I've never seen wood like this. Where in the name of the 12 did you find this? To think that lumber of this quality could be found in these lands. Why, I'll never... I'll not forget this kindness, friend. Those trees will save lives. Those trees will save lives. You bet they will, little missy. Speaking of which, whom do I have the pleasure of addressing? My name matters not. I am just a humble botanist and nothing more. I would bid you speak to my colleague, Reutelin, at the Timberlord's Lodge. He will see that you never want for lumber. I don't know who you are, miss, but I'm glad we met. The gods are truly watching over us today. Shall we go for a walk, Lynn? When Yana suggested I travel to Curse, I had not the slightest idea what she had in mind. The moment I laid eyes on this forest, I remembered. This was your intent, was it not, Lynn? You, Yanni, and Reutelin? Your gentle concern for my faltering heart is not lost on me, nor is the meaning of this forest. The trees themselves speak volumes. The seeds, the art of botany, the love of reverence for nature that we brought to Ishgard have taken root in the lands and the hearts of the people. The people and grown strong indeed. I think I misread that entirely. As strong as the majestic spruces that once more graced these snow-swept highlands. The spruces that will now provide shelter and comfort to those who have been ravished by war. Like the Dwellswood, this forest has suffered greatly in these times of strife, and yet this forest has strength. A strength it has harbored since time immemorial, and one it shares with us. A strength that goes beyond logs we harvest or the herbs we gather. I must never forget the lessons I have learned here today. On the contrary, I must share what I have discovered here, that hope might take root again in the hearts of our countrymen. Let us return to Gridania then. The Dwellswood is calling us home. The Lalafell walk cycle is so funny. Oh. The power walk. Or the penguin waddle. You can choose. I always find it very interesting when Lynn walks. Because like she walks like so stiffly. I feel. I don't know though. It's interesting. She tries to walk with grace. Maybe that's the idea. Do you hear, Lynn? The leaves whisper to us, welcoming us home. To think that I almost turned my back on them forever. The battle rages on. The battles rage on. Sorry, and the forest will not go unscathed. Gudanian and Ixal hack away at innocent branches and uproot flowers and shrubs for their own self-seeking causes. The sadness, the powerless, is at times too great to bear. And yet, if I were to walk away, who would tend to the wounded forest in my stead? There is only so much that the lone botanist can accomplish. And yet, every seed that is planted, every tree that takes root, brings us one step closer to a future where we live in harmony with the forest. In my pain and frustration, my eyes have been blinded to this truth. Thanks to you, Yanni and Reutelin. I'm just gonna call him Reutelin. Anyway, I see you again. Rest easy, Lynn. I will remain here at the Growery. How could I not? The forest needs every friend it can muster in these dark times, and it would seem I still have much to learn. I would be honored to continue to walk the path to the botanist with you, not as guildmaster and apprentice, but as peers, fellow shepherds of the forest. Be you ever safe in your travels. Right. Quest complete. And we now get the Ronnie. A thick ass freaking axe. That's cool. Next up, we need to go to Limser Laminder. You know, that's like 600. I'm gonna use my return. It's a nice looking axe, though. Nicer than I remembered in any case. Right. Now before we do that, though, let me go and sell some stuff from my inventory. Right. Let's go and sell this. Vampire plant I'll hold on to, I don't care about this. All these random doodads. And then I'll check out the rest at a later point. In any case, my friend, I hope you enjoyed this episode of Giuseppe was playing Final Fantasy XIV. And next episode, we're gonna go fishing. There we go. Goodbye.